What's up, guys? It's Alex the Magician here, back for another Heroes 3 strategy guide. And in this one, we are going to be talking about Pandora Boxes. So I'm going to cover what the Pandora Boxes are, what possible rewards you can get in them. Also, I'll discuss why and how you want to go for these, and to hopefully try to give you some tips to avoid situations like picking up a spells box on a warrior hero without wisdom or something like that. So let's just go ahead and get into these. Alright, so the Pandora boxes are these cube-looking things here, and they are always going to be guarded, and what's inside of them is going to depend on the guard size. And the contents of the Pandora box will be one out of four things: either gold, experience, spells, or army. So those are the four possibilities. And right here, for example, I will go over to this Heroes 3 Assist. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later, as I do recommend using this to calculate your Pandora Box rewards. And you guys can see the possible rewards. It's either 5, 10, 15, or 20k XP, 5, 10, 15, or 20k gold, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells, all air, earth, fire, water, or all spells, and army, right? Now, the Pandora boxes can be either inside of your biome or in the desert. And inside of your biome, they are going to be limited. So the army inside of your biome, you cannot have tier 6 or 7 creatures inside of your biome. You also cannot have 20k XP, and you cannot have all spells. So those are the limitations on Pandora boxes inside of your biome. And in the center, you can have all of those things. So there's no limitations there. You can have tier 6 or 7 creatures, upgraded tier 6 or 7 creatures, and you can have all spells as well. Now, another thing that I'm going to mention, so let's talk about the army first, right? So the army that you get inside of Pandora boxes is going to depend on the biome that you're in. So if this is a dungeon biome, for example, this box can only contain dungeon army. Same here for the cove biome. These boxes in the center will only contain cove army, not anything else. And the other thing that you guys should be aware of in terms of the army boxes is it works kind of the same way as dwellings, as like your dragon dwelling, for example. If there are more dungeon zones, if there are more zones of that kind on the map, the value of dwellings goes up. The value of army inside Pandora boxes also goes up. So if you have more than one biome of, the same type as your starting zone, then the army rewards may be lower than you think, and I'll just kind of demonstrate this when we're discussing this, right? So this is a tool that I definitely recommend for calculating Pandora boxes. It is Heroes 3 Assist, and it has a lot of cool features, like you can also calculate the battle damage and other stuff. But the thing that I probably use this more often than anything else for is calculating Pandora Box rewards. Just Google Heroes 3 Assist. If you don't know about this, download it, and then you can use the same thing. So basically, you just go on this screen over here, you click on the dragon, select Pandora Box, and here, for example, we have this Genie's box. So let's go ahead and go into it, and we can calculate the Pandora Box reward. Alright, so this was 29 Genies. That's actually a really big box, so this could easily be spells, right? So here, let's go into this. We select our dungeon zone. Right now, let's pretend that we don't know there's a second dungeon zone. We're, just gonna pretend that there's one. And then we select the guard over here, right? So we go Tower, Master Genies, 29. And we also add the shrine, the level 3 shrine, right? And now this shows us the potential rewards, right? So we can have 15k XP, 15k gold, level 4 or level 5 spells, or all air, earth, fire, and water, right? And we can also have army over here. Now, as you guys can see, there were 29 of them, right? So it's not that likely that it's 15k XP, because that would be a low roll of them for 15k XP. 15k gold is likely, it's an exact average. Level 5 spells is likely, and all earth, all air, all fire, all water is likely, right? Now, look, if I select more zones over here, right? You can see that the army rewards change. So this is what I was talking about, right? It shows us that we can no longer get, with 2 zones, we can no longer get Minotaur Kings, but now we can also get Evil Eyes, because like I said, the army value goes up the more zones of that kind there are on the map. So just pay attention to that, and also pay attention to the fact if this is week 2, then again, the guards get stronger, right? Each week, guards get stronger, so you also want to select what week there is. And one more thing that you want to pay attention to is inside of your biome on JC, the guards are going to be weak. Inside of the center, the guards are going to be strong. So just make sure that you select that as well. Now, the fact that this can be spells, and the guard size, or you know, if you have more biomes, more zones of that kind, the guards for spells or gold or experience are not going to change. That's going to be the same. So only the army boxes value go up. The spells and the gold and the experience box value does not go up, right? So we can see that this can easily be spells, right? So if I can help it, I would like to try to take this Pandora box on a wizard hero, or on a spellcaster hero, right? And here we do have Malekith, who's leveled up to Expert Wisdom, or on a hero who has a spell book and Expert Wisdom, right? Because if this is all air or all earth, I certainly want to get all of the spells, including the level 5 spells, right? So you see, this was actually all air. Now, when you get boxes like this in your biome, they can be very helpful, right? Now we have Chain Lightning, we have Dimension Door, we have Fly. So that is a pretty decent box. Now, if I were to take it on my main, I would just get an empty box. It would, you know, I don't even have a spell book on Shakti right now, right? So that would be a huge disappointment, right? You know, it's one of the worst things when you fight a huge guard for a Pandora box and you open it and it ends up being spells that you cannot learn as your main, right? So if you can help it, then this is why it's always a good idea to main spellcaster hero. So whenever you're playing, you know, like let's say Tower with Solmir, or you know, a Conflux with Luna, for example, you don't really have to worry about that because that is your main, right? And you're going for the Pandora boxes, and if it's spells, you will usually get them, right? But when you're playing as a warrior hero and there's a good chance that the boxes can be spells, I would try to find a spellcaster hero with Expert Wisdom to actually pick up that box, right? This cannot happen all the time though, because sometimes you know, just don't have the time to level up that spellcaster hero or get him close to the box, and maybe, you know, since this can still be potentially experience or army, I may still pick this up with my main, right? In that situation though, it was a really good chance that this was going to be spells. So you know, if it's a really good chance for spells, then I would be more leaning towards actually picking it up on a spellcaster hero. But in a lot of cases, like for example, the value of 10k XP and level 4 spells is nearly the same. So you will still likely be picking those boxes up on your main and hoping for experience, right? In most cases, when you are picking up Pandora boxes, you will be sending your main for them because it's a really good way to get experience. And, you know, sometimes you can get screwed on those, of course, but in many cases, you will get the experience boxes, and it will be a really good way to level up your main hero quickly and get him like Expert Earth Magic, you know, better stats, better skills, etc., right? So in many cases, you will be planning out your movement inside of your biome with your main hero in a way that will allow you to send your main hero for some Pandora boxes. And, you know, if you do end up getting the relief boxes or something that you don't want to have on your main, well, you know, you just get unlucky. You just kind of have to accept that sometimes that will happen. I had a game once, for example, where I sent Luna for like 3 different boxes, and I was hoping for experience, and I ended up getting like 15k gold in one of them, 10k gold in the other one, and 5k gold in the third one. So it was like the worst situation, and the only box that I picked up with a side hero ended up being experience, which is what I wanted, right? Alright, so now that we have covered that, I will also talk about what Pandora boxes you guys want to go for and why. So in the early game, because of the randomness of Pandora boxes, because of the fact that they may give you what you don't want or are not necessarily expecting, right? And even when you use the calculator, you know, if you have sent your main hero like all the way down here, you know, well, you will still be in a position in many cases to pick up that box anyway, right? And just hope that you get something that is actually useful for you there. However, for that reason, I recommend only going for Pandora boxes that are relatively easy to take. I definitely, like that Master Genie's box, I definitely don't recommend going for until you're strong enough to actually do that with a few losses. In the early game, like if I'm, you know, playing dungeon, I would have troglodytes as my main power stack, right? And it would really just bleed away in that Master Genie's fight. I would probably just die doing that fight. So you definitely don't want to trade away your army for a Pandora box, because a Pandora box may just not be what you want. So something like this, like the 5/9 air elementals, the 5099 pixies, or over here, the 2049 Obsidian Gargoyles, those are the boxes that I would recommend doing in the early game, because there's also a good chance that these boxes are going to be experience, 5k experience, you know, or gold, which can also be useful, but you're usually looking for experience, right? And let's even do these real quick. All right, this is going to take a long time. Change the movement real quick. Whoops. Alright, so you see, 5k XP, easy box, and, you know, easy experience in the early game on our main. This one, well, 5k gold, also not completely useless, and should be done without really losing anything. And this one, 27 troglodytes, also a good box to have in the early game, right? So you see, something like that you don't really expect to lose a lot of army to, those are good boxes to go for. Something like this, 5099 Griffins, well, I would go for it, but eventually, you know, once I've farmed a couple of hives, once I farmed something that will allow me to do this with no losses, right? And this is about 50 of them, so this can actually be potentially 10k XP, and there it is, 10k XP, right? So also really good boxes to have on your main if you do get the 10k XP, right? Now, as far as the center goes, in the center, your priorities will change a little bit. So while in your biome, you're going to be sending your main hero for the Pandora boxes. In the center, you usually will not be picking those up with your main, because you will likely have other priorities, right? And because of the randomness of the Pandora boxes, you may very well get, you know, like when you get in the center, experience boxes are usually not going to be a very high priority for you, because you will likely already have all of the main skills that you needed leveled, you know, for doing the break, like Expert Earth, you know, offense, maybe armor, you know, other things like that, tactics, whatever. So experience boxes are not really going to be what you're looking for, right? You're going to be looking for potentially army and potentially spells, right? Let's end the turn real quick. And the thing about spells is if you already have a main that is a warrior hero without wisdom, well, you're there's not going to be any benefit for you picking up the spells boxes again, because once again you will not actually learn the spells because you don't have wisdom. You don't have, well, you would have a spell book, but you wouldn't have wisdom, right? So for those reasons, you will likely be picking up Pandora boxes on side heroes, because you can level up side heroes to be supports. You can also get spells on a side hero with wisdom. And of course, when you get army in the Pandora boxes, it really doesn't matter who you pick them up on, because you can just trade them to your main hero anyway, right? So just for the sake of argument, let's have a quick look. So this is a high value box right here, 20k XP, right? And really 26k as high value box here. Well, this is also, so that was actually spells, right? And let's, for the sake of argument, check out what the box was. So I'll once again pick these up on the side hero. And this was actually all spells, right? So really amazing box to have, really disappointing to pick that up on a hero with no wisdom, right? So this is why it's really good to have a mage as a supporting hero, right? So those are kind of my tips for trying to pick up Pandora boxes. It's usually what I do. I'll usually plan out my movement in my biome with the main around Pandora boxes so I can pick those up hoping for experience usually. And when I see that it could be spells, there's a really good chance for it to be spells, try to take that on a spellcaster hero. And of course, in the center, don't really prioritize Pandora boxes as much unless that's the only thing that you can go for, and probably pick them up on side heroes unless you are really looking to level your main hero still, and you really want the experience, or you do have wisdom on your main hero and you're expecting those boxes to be spells as well. So real quick, just one more demonstration over here. So imagine this box over here, right? 5099 satyrs. Now, I can immediately tell that this is going to be a big box, right? Definitely not something that I would go for in the early game, but this is feasible to go for once Luna is leveled up enough, because she will be able to burn these guys without too much trouble, right? And it's actually 94 of them, right? So that is a huge number. And here we got expert wisdom, so now we're good. And let's check out what the box actually is. So 94 satyrs, and we also have the hill fort, which does add a good amount of value. Now, the other thing that I kind of forgot to mention here is always pay attention to what else they are guarding besides the box. So like even the Mercury pile, this adds 2k value to the guard size, so it's not just a Pandora box, right? And then especially when you have something like this, or especially when you have multiple artifacts, like here for example, Ladybird of Luck, that is a quest artifact for sure, so you don't really know the value of that, right? The hill fort here added 7k value, right? So just make sure that when you're calculating these, you add the additional, whatever else they are guarding over here, so that the Pandora box is calculated correctly, right? So we calculated this, right? And we see that actually this cannot be spells. The guard is too strong. This cannot be spells, right? So I could have easily picked this up on a side hero. So this is either meat, earth, or magma elementals, or 20k gold, or 15k XP, right? Well, if I did go for this with Luna or with my main hero, I would probably pick this up with her, of course, because experience, I would want the experience on my main. And if it's not experience, well, I still get the army and I still get the gold, right? So let's see what we get. Okay, so it is 15k XP, right? And imagine if we just pick this up on Luna, well, basically now we have all of the experience that we really need, right? So we already have Expert Earth, we have 6 spell power with Expert Fire Magic, and you know, with a little bit of additional fire spell power, we would be able to go for the break. Well, of course not this one, because this one is fire immune, right? But in a lot of other cases, we would be able to go for it. All right, guys. So on that note, I am going to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you found this useful. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's something else that you guys would like to know about Pandora boxes that you think this video did not cover. And on that note, thank you once again for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Peace out.